should Walt Clyde Frazier have won the 1970s NBA Finals MVP?
We knew the high expectations, but we relished those expectations because we knew we lived in the greatest city in the world.
Willis Reed is the only Knick to ever win a Finals MVP. Yes, that does mean he won both in both 1970 and the 1973 seasons. For the 1970 Finals, the Knicks won against the Los Angeles Lakers 4-3. Before I get into both Clyde Frazier and Willis Reed stats, let's get into the biggest historical storyline that came out of that series.
With anticipation, the Knicks were on the verge of winning their first NBA title, but the fans knew that unless Willis Reed could play, chances were remote.
It's withstood the test of time, the Willis Reed game. Willis Reed tore his right thigh muscle 9 minutes into Game 5. This was when the series was tied 2 games apiece. Through the first 4 games, Reed averaged almost 32 points, 15 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. He was also responsible for containing Wilt Chamberlain inside. Little known fact, Wilt Chamberlain went 1 for 10 from free throw line in Game 1. Through the first 4 games, Clyde Frazier only averaged 13 points, 8.5 rebounds, and just under 9 assists. Game 5 is when Willis Reed suffered the injury. He played 8.5 minutes, give or take, only got 7 points, 1 assist, and no rebounds, and was knocked out of the rest of the contest. Clyde ends up leading the Knicks to a 107-100 victory in Game 5 without Reed the rest of the way, with 21 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. The Knicks got contributions from a bunch of guys, though. Cazzie Russell ended up scoring 20 points off the bench with added time. New York ended up with 6 players in double figures and 5 players with at least 6 boards in the game. And then Game 6, the game that Reed missed altogether, the Knicks got blown out in what was the most lopsided game of the series. The Lakers won 135-113. Not good. And remember how I said that Chamberlain was being contained by Reed earlier through the first 4 games? Will Chamberlain went off for 45 points and 27 rebounds in the only game, Game 6, that Reed didn't play at all. The rest of the series, the other 6 games, Wilt didn't score more than 22 points in any of the games. Whereas Clyde in Game 6 only managed to get 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. He didn't lead the Knicks in any of the big 3 categories. Also back then, turnovers, steals, and blocks were not accounted for, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows this, but there was no 3-point line yet. And now we get to Game 7, the Willis Reed game, or as it's known in history as, the Willis Reed game. It even says that on Basketball Reference. No one knows if Reed's going to play. No one knows if he's going to come out. Before the game, he gets an injection into his thigh, and he comes onto the court, and the crowd goes insane.
And I think we see Willis coming out. There he comes right now. 6'10" from Grambling, the captain of the Knicks, the most valuable player in the NBA.
Reed scores the first 4 points for New York. He makes both of their first 2 baskets. Now here's something that most people know, but I feel like there's a time in every young diehard Knicks fan's life that they find out a very odd detail about what's called the Willis Reed game. Those were his only points. He only scored 4 points the whole game. He played like 27, 28 minutes. He only scored the first 2 baskets. He had the phenomenal almighty stat line of 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. The game is named after him. How crazy is that to find out? And this is totally contrary to the fact that Clyde had one of the best statistical Game 7s in NBA history. This man put up 36 points, 19 assists, and 7 rebounds. And remember I said Wilt Chamberlain went 1 for 10 from the charity stripe in Game 1? Clyde went 12 for 12 in Game 7. That's pressure. That's having ice in your veins right there. A couple other great Game 7s just of note in NBA Finals history. The one most recently that most of us would know. LeBron had a triple-double, 27, 11, 11, and the Cavs winning in 2016 over the Golden State Warriors. James Worthy had a 36-point, 16-rebound, 10-assist triple-double way back in 1988. Jerry West, who was the leading scorer in this series that I'm talking about, the 1970s finals, the year before in the 1969 finals, where the Lakers also lost, put up 42, 13, and 12 in a game he lost. So that sucks. And then the best Game 7 performer statistically of all time, is Bill Russell. These are 3 separate game stats that I'm about to tell you. He won all 3, in case you're wondering. In 1966, Bill Russell had 25 points and 32 rebounds, 1 assist. In 1966. In 1962, he put up 30 points and 40 rebounds. 40 rebounds. What? If I'm playing against 6-year-olds right now, I don't think I would get 40 rebounds still. That's insane. What's crazy about the game where he got 30 points and 40 rebounds in 1962 is that Elgin Baylor put up 41 points and 22 rebounds and 4 assists and lost. And then Russell also put up 22 and 35 and 4 assists in 1960. And again, yes, the highest number was rebounds, not the points. Pretty crazy. So in 3 games in the finals, Bill Russell had 32 rebounds, 40 rebounds, and 35 rebounds, all in Game 7 victories for the Celtics throughout his career. Back to the New York though. Reed averaged 23 points, 10.5 boards, and 2.8 assists through the series, through the 6 out of the 7 games that he played. But through the 4 games that he played healthy, 32 points, 15 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. And again, he held Wilt to under 22 or under 23 in every game he played against him, and Wilt scored 45 in the game he didn't play. With that being said, Jerry West actually led the series in scoring and did much more for the Lakers offense than Wilt Chamberlain did. Wilt Chamberlain did dominate the boards overall over Reed most of the games, just throwing it out there. But in case you want to know any funny crap, look up Wilt Chamberlain's free throw stats and tell me you wouldn't go insane if you were cheering for him these days. Kind of like we do Mitchell Robinson. Mitch isn't as good as Wilt Chamberlain was, obviously, but it is pretty frustrating to watch a guy that's 7 foot grab offensive boards and get putbacks, get fouled instead and miss 2 at the line every time. Clyde Frazier did have the best game of the series at the most important time. Having your best game in Game 7 is definitely the most important and best time to absolutely have it. Can't take that away from him. Unfortunately, the test of time always takes it away from him a little bit because it's called the Willis Reed game. And in my opinion, Willis Reed that year got the NBA MVP, got the All-Star Game MVP, and he rightfully deserved the NBA Finals MVP, even only playing 4 games fully healthy and 6 games total. If you think I'm wrong, if you think you should go to Clyde, maybe Big D, let me know in the comments. Also, rest in peace, Willis Reed. Rest in peace to the captain. And Knicks fans keep willing and dealing, because Clyde wouldn't have it any other way.